Yeah. Good morning, friends. Hope you enjoyed yesterday's webinar where we covered some of the utilities created in Excel. So today we are going to continue with the session, and today we are going to discuss about RERA, basically Maharashtra RERA, form number 3 and 5, a simple payroll, compliances under various statutes, and notices and various intimation correspondence related database. So before we start, let me just reiterate some of the points which uh, I made passing remarks yesterday. Uh, before we get into developing of any utility in Excel, we need to have some basic what we call guidelines which we need to follow while just a second. Okay, sorry. See, for example, few guidelines which I follow, I will share with you. First of all, whenever you are developing a file and if you are making any improvements or bug fixing or changes, uh, one second, this call from branch. Hello, Kiran, online I am already. So we need to maintain what we call versioning of files. It is important so that whatever changes you create, you can compare with the previous versioning. And many times, while when you are fixing some bugs or introducing new features, you may mess up with something which was working perfectly before. So you need to go back and verify where your programming has gone wrong. That's why you need to have file versioning, and if possible try to maintain change logs, because yes, I understand change logs, maintaining a documentation part is the difficult part, because we don't have that much time to do that, but it's a good practice. Plus, always take backups before doing any modifications of your templates, so that if anything goes wrong, majorly goes wrong, you can restore the backup and start working on that. And third point and most important is testing and more testing. So whenever your application is ready for as a release candidate, should have done a lot of testing. So normally in our office also, whatever developments we do, some of the improvements are just online. Whenever we face any issue or any problem, we modify it. So it might happen, it happens that testing is not done thoroughly, and all the permutation and combinations of information or processing requirements which may be faced in real life later are not tested. So again, later on that bug comes, and again we have to chase removing that bug. So to avoid that kind of this thing, it's preferable to have thorough testing before releasing it for use by office colleagues. Plus, many times we come across bugs while working on that. So we need to maintain a separate file where we list out all the bugs faced during actual execution. And many times, since we are doing this in Excel, we are able to bypass those bugs. For example, if something is not adding up, we can manually add up that whatever is missing, or add, minus, or whatever arithmetical calculation is to be done, and we proceed with our this thing. But in subsequent versions of your file, that bug needs to be addressed. That's why you need to maintain file where you need these improvements. Plus, in addition to that, while working, you may realize that some features are lacking in the application. You need to include that feature. So even those feature list you can maintain in a separate file, so that while once you start developing, all your requirements are in a single place. And fifth point is you must observe in our application there is no VBA, that is macro based programming. Everything is formula based programming. Why Microsoft by default disables execution of that VBA code. So every time a file is opened, the user has to click a consent to execute that VBA code. If that person forgets to give that permission, then the VBA code will not execute it and your data quality may get affected. So yes, there are means where you can add it as a trust location and all things, but practically it is not feasible. And another thing, you can have a organization level digital signature signed to that file, and it is automatically accepted. But that is again a costly proposition. So that's why we chose to use formula based development, so that all those possible errors are avoided. And also we are not much using pivot tables. Most of our data is static data, and pure data is more for dynamic analysis of data. So what if situations, the various permutation and combinations, whereas the numerical analysis which we do, they are mostly of post-mortem in nature. After the event has happened, we are analyzing that data, and our requirements are also static. So there is no chopping and changing of our information requirements generally. That's why we don't use pivot tables. Plus, it has been my observation that by adding pivot tables, the size of the file also increases. So these are the few developing guidelines which we follow while developing these Excel utilities in our office. So let us start with today's files. So first we are going to see RERA certification related files, what we are maintaining. To begin with, first we have to define a table containing details of the chartered accountant, forms and signing person's name. So this database will be common for both form 3 and form 5. So here we are having again serial number is the first column by default, firm name, firm registration number, signing CA name, membership number, designation, address, landline, mobile number and email ID. Why all this is required, I will explain a little bit later. Then we come to defining the table of your projects covered under RERA. So here this is project name, builder name, then RERA registration number. If it is already obtained, you have to mention the registration number, and if you are giving a certificate for a new this thing, you have to mention new here. If it is registered, registration date, address of the project, line 1, line 2, city, pin, and this is simple combination of project name and builder. Now why do we need this combination? So it may happen that more than one of your builder client may start a project with similar name. So at that time it creates a lot of confusion for the database also, and for you also to update the data. So it's better to have this project and builder name combination as a index key. So what is that index key? I will explain here. Now this is the table where we will be updating our form 3 data. So here from the drop down list, I select which project. So if you can see, it's a combination of project name and builder name. So you are selecting the particular this thing. So this is the name, and machine is slow. Okay, then you have to mention the certificate is up to which date. right? This is the date, cost up to which date you are reporting. So these are the various dates. So in form number 3 we issue quarterly, and these were initial certificates, then thereafter their quarterly data. Then we have headings: land cost estimated, EST is the abbreviation for estimated, and incurred, INC is the abbreviation for incurred. So like this, for various heads in that form number 3, we have created columns estimated and incurred. Now suppose there is some confusion, you want to see now what is the details of this premium, what is this premium. So I have given a link here, you can click this. So it takes you to the row in the form where that information is to given. Here you'll come to know what all is to be included in that premium details. So if whenever you are preparing, if there is any confusion, you can get back to this actual form number 3, and see what details need to be required. So to easily get to that item, I have provided you links here. So like this we enter all the data. So if you see in the heading, this is all land related information, part 1, and then part 2 is cost of construction related information, all this part, and then loan amount, interest estimated, and interest incurred. And loan amount you are supposed to give, not in the amount columns of the table, as a note you have to provide that. I will show that in the form 3. So mentioning percentage completion as per architect certificate, although they have issued a clarification that this is not required to be mentioned in our form number 3. So but when we had issued the initial certificate, we had mentioned that. So amount withdrawn you have to fill up here. Then if you want to have any disclosure notes in the certificate, you can, there is option to add 3 notes. Then you have to select which CA is going to sign this certificate, CA name, certificate date you have to enter here, place of signing, and certificate number. This is internal certification number, uh, not your UDIN number. UDIN number is this column. So then you have to maintain ready reckoner rates. This ASR rate is ready reckoner rate. Uh, that usually you get from the builder client itself, and if you want to add any remarks to this particular, this is for memorandum purpose, for your information only, so you have to mention it here. Then there are 2 tables to be provided, annexure A and annexure B. Oh, Excel crashed, just a second, give me some time. Okay, we are back online. Let me go to the end. Now the thing is, if there is any information which you have filled in annexure A and B, you will get the notation click here, otherwise it shows the error. Now let us see how to enter the error data, sorry. Now suppose my last item here is not having any link in annexure A. So I will go in annexure A. These are some of the blank templates tables which you have created in that sheet. So whenever I want to update for anything, suppose for item number 16 I want to enter, I will just enter here and I will put whatever the data is required here. So now my this thing will be ready just like this. So this is the details of that some other this thing. I will link this only. Right now I go here and whenever I want to see or while taking printout, I click here and I come directly to this certificate part. So while printing, I just set the print area, select the table and set print area to this and print. So similarly, it is for annexure B. So so like this, you prepare data for your form 3 and your annexures, and then comes the part of printing your form number 3. So again, we are using spinner control here to access the data of the form in your form 3 database. You use the spinner control to select the project, right? So this is as per the form 3 given under Maharera Act, and whatever notes you have mentioned, they come here, and if there is nothing in your note number 2 and 3, there is nothing, so it is appearing as blank. What we can do, we can select this and hide. So this is the benefit of having your this thing in Excel. So whatever is not required, you can hide it. No need to delete it. So you can hide it for this certificate printing and later on unhide for next certificate. So that saves a lot of time and energy. Now suppose if you use pre-printed certificate, then there is no letterhead details. But if you are not using pre-printed certificate, you can have your own uh, letterhead created here itself. So since it is in Excel, you can have any structure of your letterhead you want. So this is a simple structure I have put in for test purpose. So this is how it is. Your letterhead is also ready. And similarly for form number 5, uh, controlling the field is that project builder combination name, and then you enter the details here, cost up to which date and other requirements in form number 5, and notes, and where your data is stored, that directory, and what is the status of billing, and you can print form number 5 from this sheet. So here again it is similar to form number 3 printing. You can select your relevant form by scrolling, spinning through the numbers, and if you want to have a letterhead here only, you can select letterhead here. So at one place you have all the information required relating to RERA certification. Now why do we need all the information at one place? First of all, most of the master data we need not keep copy pasting at multiple levels or saving as file. So we have master data ready in one in single location. Plus, when you prepare your certificate for subsequent period, many times there are errors in data sent by the accounts team of the builders or developers. So here, if you set the filter to that particular project, you in a snapshot view, you will get to know see the history of that project. Many times it has happened that these numbers given in subsequent certification data is less than the earlier certificate. So immediately we'll come to know, okay, then nay, this is wrong, something is wrong. So you revert back. So like this, for all these fields, there is a very possibility that there is a compiling error on behalf of the accountant, and incorrect data has been sent. So one visibly erroneous data is amount in current certificate is lesser than the previous certificate. So you can immediately get them to send corrected certificate. So like this, it helps you maintaining accuracy in at least one aspect of your certification. Plus, I had mentioned regarding that loan amount. Yeah, here if you see, the loan principal amount is mentioned in the inner column of the rather than the description column, not in this outer column. So this is the estimated total interest cost, this is the actual interest cost incurred, and this is the total amount estimated to be borrowed for the project. So this is the information or description about this Maharera form number 3. Now our next file is simple payroll. Let us open simple payroll. Yeah, now here we have simple payroll. Basically, this is meant for small firms or small offices. First, we have to enter in master data employer name and for which year. So same thing can be used for multiple years. So if I change the year here to 2021, automatically all the fields will be updated to the year 2021-22. Right now, after that you have got table of months, and here there are buttons to enable process. This is to ensure that in income certificate or MIS reporting only actual completed months are considered. So whenever you process for any month, you have to do the checklist. Now I have built in some safeguards here. Suppose if I click by mistake this July when June itself is not processed, so automatically process status is not getting, this is the column for updating the process. Process status is not getting updated, so it has to be contagious uh, updation. So now we have clicked for 4 months processing this thing. Now staff categories I have mentioned: employee, article, trainee, and consultant. Uh, Although I have maintained this professional tax lab for Maharashtra, but it is right now nowhere being used, just for information purpose it is there. And types of leave for marking in your attendance sheet. Now then we go to the employee master data. Again, you have enter a employee ID, then employee name, gender, category. If there is a drop down list, PAN number, and other routine master data, date of joining, and then you have to enter the pay. So this thing basic plus DA is auto calculated. These green colored cells are to be filled. So whenever you are, this is the, if this is going to be gross pay, and if I enter, say suppose 5,000 here as some allowance, so your basic pay is automatically getting adjusted. So like this, you have to define this thing, and if profession tax is applicable, you have to mention. Although I have given a formula, it's not a perfect formula. You can change manually here. So this value will be picked up for calculating pay sheets. PF ESI amount has to be mentioned here. TDS rate, if applicable, automatically this is picking up from the table. If it is category is consultant, that automatically TDS is getting this thing. Deductions and net pay are mentioned, and other their bank details you have to update here. Then comes the part of entering attendance data. Now attendance, if you see, employee 1 is 12 continuous months. Now then comes employee 2, 12 continuous months. So like this, it is automatically getting populated. So here I have given in employee master provision for up to 25 employees. Right. So and the main what you say testament for this sheet is not to sort data in these sheets. So that's why I have disabled those filter buttons for these sheets. So how to enable or disable those filter buttons? Go to the design tab and here filter button, if it is on you will get the filter buttons, if it is disabled you will miss the filter button, so that even by accident data doesn't get filtered, because the employee names are automatically getting populated here in attendance and in other sheets. So if this data is sorted, then manually entered data gets tagged against a wrong employee, so that will be a very chaotic situation. So to avoid that, we have to keep the sorting structure same. Now comes, as I said, for one employee, total entries for each month. Here are the month names. So again, these are picked up automatically. Now, if you see, you have to maintain the attendance details here. So here I am giving notations. P is for present. Actually, if it is blank, it is considered to be present. Rather, this attendance sheet is entry by exception. So if it is blank, it means present. So what are the types of paid leaves which are considered here, and what are the types of leaves where payment is not to be paid? Accordingly, you have to make entries here. So for test basis, I have entered some numbers here. Now from this basis, your pay sheet data gets populated. So for that first employee in May, I had entered some leave details. Unpaid days are 5, paid days are 26. So on that basis, on the pay sheet is calculated. So similarly for employee 2, for each employee, since we have set the processed as uh, on for 4 months, for each employee it is calculating. Now the question comes, what if there is any change of salary in between the year? So you can consider that also here. Even one or more changes also can be accommodated here. So employee name, you have to select from a drop down list. Month name, from again from a drop down list. And if there is any change in category, suppose your article becomes your employee or you engage him as a consultant, change of designation can also be done here. And these are all same headings related to pay as in the master data, but here we are increasing the amount. One thing I missed in attendance. So if you see, few random cells are getting maroon color, this thing, right? So what that maroon coloring signify? So let me show you what it is. So here I set the filter to April. So if you see, these are all the Sundays. So these are conditional formatting based coloring, where these days are marked in maroon color, indicating this is a Sunday. So you will come to know whether you have to update any data in this or not, right? So now let us go to pay sheet. Now in our salary change, we have made changes for employee 1 and employee 3. Let us see whether that is getting affected or not. So if you see, for employee 1, this is the opening gross pay. Here 5 unpaid leaves are that's why it is less. In June there is a change in salary. See, first change is in June. So it is giving effect in June, and for subsequent months it is automatically taking that changed salary structure, and TDS is calculated automatically here according to the parameter which you have set. Now here I have a single sheet for MI's reporting requirements. So basically 4 MI's reports are there: pay sheet for a month, employee attendance, means category, leave category wise, payslip for a selected month of a selected employee, and annual employee income summary. So here if I want to view a pay sheet for any particular month for all the 25 employees, I just have to select the month here. I'm using radio buttons as we had discussed yesterday. So using these radio buttons, we are setting the month and automatically the values are getting updated. Now next comes again here I have provided hyperlinks to that particular report type, so you can jump directly there. So it goes to the start of that this thing report. Now here I have selected employee one. This is the history of leaves of that employees. So there are two paid leaves and five unpaid leaves in May. Right now, if I want to go to the main report menu, again here hyperlink in the numbering. You click here, you go back to the main report. Then we come to the pay slip of that employee. So here is the payslip. You have to select the relevant month, and this is the payslip prepared according to the your salary structure. So here it gives the details of pay also, total paid days, present, leave with pay, leave without pay. So this is the analysis of attendance for that month. And fourth, this thing is annual income summary of that employees. So wherever the income is, the processing statement is set to on, tick marked, so that values only are getting. So you get to know the employees annual income Y2D income report here. So this was the brief about simple payroll. Now if you see some of my as I said, most of my files are all formula based this thing. There is no macro. So when you are doing a formula based this thing, you will have to make use of helper cells. So in my this sheet, uh, these columns in purple color are helper sheets, helper columns. So subsequently you can keep these columns hidden. Um, so this is a demo this thing, that's why I have kept them unhidden. So using these helper columns we calculate our numbers here, right? Once you go through the file, you will get to know what all is there in those helper columns and how it is used. And all these subsequent sheets like attendance and pay sheet, automatically these employee names are populated for 12 months for each employee. So here, okay, sorry, yeah, in attendance that calculation is there. Now since the filter is set to April, all the month is showing this thing only. Remove the filter. So actually this is the controlling column, how it determines whether it there is a need to change the employee name. Once total, we have to first count total entries, and sorry, this is the this thing round up. So counts the entries and divides it by 12. So since we are using it for 12 months, so automatically it gives you integers of 1, 2, 3, 4. And based on this, all other columns are calculated. So this was it about simple payroll. It's a very basic payroll which would be useful for small entities. And our next topic is compliances under various statutes. So let us open that file. Similar, okay. Let us go ahead. Okay, the very first sheet here is, if you see the names of the sheets, these are all independent sheets according to the compliances or returns which we are supposed to file. Right. So first sheet is whether wherever that DS is not used or EVC is not done, then physical ITR acknowledgement is to be sent. So this is the chart of acknowledgement which are to be sent. So here is my summary report. Now it says two items, ITR signed copy and ready to be sent. So means if you see for this signed copy received, I have mentioned as S, but postage date is blank. So that's why it is getting counted. And in case of two items, we have not received signed copy also. So it is giving me a report of signed ITR not yet received. Now, unfortunately, there are still people who cannot opt for EVC because of incorrect telephone number linking with their Aadhaar, or maybe some other issues. So we have to send manually these acknowledgements to CPC. Now, next tab is relating to IT returns chart. So this is the client-wise table maintained. So these are all fields which we maintain in our office. So these fields may vary according to your tastes and requirement. And here at the top, it is giving a summary of the status, number of pending returns, pending filed, and CPC pending. Yeah, there is some error in this formula. I need to check because it has to pick up from here. So again, pending based on non-audit and audit cases, you will get a summary here, and you will get a, percentage report of percent work completed. Now this is 92% complete, and this is 83% complete. This is just test data I'm using. So here my columns are serial number, client name, and nature of income. So this is just for information purpose, because the staff whom we have assigned, he has to go through that, all that income is considered. So this column is updated when we receive information from the client. So especially in non-audit cases, we rely on the information provided by the client. So whatever is the nature of income which we gather during the communication with them, we just mention it here. Right, and what is the status of information or documents received, and name of the staff to whom this particular return is assigned, and then what is the due date. So mentioning of due date is very important, because on this basis audit non-audit cases are determined. So if it is July 31st, it is taken as non-audit, and if it is 30th September, then it is treated as audit case. So if return is filed, date of filing, again based on this value, it gets counted as return filed or not filed. So if it is a date there, it is treated as return filed. So we mentioned the acknowledgement number here, copy from that PDF file, acknowledgement PDF file, and copy it here. And then we have CPC dispatch date, it is mentioned, but what is the status of verification actually? Whether it is e-verified or filed with DSC, or if it is pending, because suppose e-verification doesn't happen immediately, subsequently after the due date, when we have got free time, we have to do that e-verification, and if verification cannot be done, then physical copy is to be sent. So that's why this status needs to be updated, and here we just put remarks for our information purpose. What is the status if anything is pending? For example, here no data is received for this, so that's why it is pending. And again, billing status and data, if we are year wise, we have separate data, and we have to mention data path. Although UDIN column we have inserted, but not much of a use is there, because we are maintaining information relating to this in that certificates sheet. So next comes audits sheet. Here the columns which we have maintained is client name, constitution type, just to make sure that what all audits are applicable based on constitution, whether we are following up, suppose if it is a company or LLP, so there are statutory audits also applicable. So from that constitution, this thing will come to know what audits are applicable. So there must be for a single client there might be multiple audits types applicable. Suppose if I go down here, this is of a single client. There are four types of certification audit reports to be submitted. First is statutory audit. This is a company. It has got a consultant that has to be also be prepared and certified. Income tax audit and transfer pricing audit. So it may also have a 29B MAT audit also. So a single client can have multiple attestation requirements. So all these are listed here. So this is prepared from a drop down list. The basis of the drop down list is here we have prepared audit types. So this becomes our data for preparing those drop downs as well as analyzing our status of work complete. So report date and UD number and who is going to be the auditor in your firm. So so that appropriate auditor can keep checkup of his assigned audit status, and who is going to be the staff. Basically, staff is the group leader of that audit team, who is going to be answerable to the partner. So under that team leader, there might be other assigned staff. So we just mentioned it to the who is the leader. So here we are again mentioning what is the status, whether ITR is updated. So during pressure, it happened that we uploaded the tax audit report and everything, but we forgot to upload the ITR. So in the evening while reviewing this thing, we realized that ITR is missing. So that's why we inserted this column so that ITR doesn't get missed out. So once ITR is filed, we update the status here as ITR filed. So if it is blank, means ITR is not filed. And this column is for data path of the your audit working, where you saved all that audit related data. And then you have your billing status, and then you have DAC token. So before the audit season starts, we take inventory of the digital signature tokens available with us and available with client, and what is the expiry date of those digital signatures. So if the digital signature expiry is at the fag end of the due date, so it may create a problem. So we have to intimate the client to start the process sometime before we get too busy with the returns filing activity. So that's why it is required here. And then this comes companies, means this is MCA related compliance. So all MC related compliance master data we maintain here. This is company name, and then we have field for INC 22A, that is KYC of the company. So under that there are three columns: filing date, SRN number, and filing fee paid. And sometimes it may happen that client is himself through directly through employee company secretary or through practicing company secretary getting it updated, so you are not going to do that. So you just have to mention it as client. So whenever any information is maintained updated, it turns into green. So whatever is uncolored means that is pending work. So if you fill that information, turns into green, so you do not worry about that part. So like this, we have status for MSME return. First time this file is for 1920, so these fields are there. For this year, there will be only half one and half two MSME, and DPT is relating to deposits, first time and annual. And now comes the annual return filings, MGT7, uh, and whether MGT7 needs certification by company secretary. So uh, small companies don't need any certification from company secretary. Other than small companies need certification, and certain companies need uh, MGT 8 certificate from company secretary. So you just need to mention the details of company secretary, and this is relating to AOC 4, and this is relating to consolidated statement. If it is not applicable, just mention not applicable. And this is MGT 8. If it is applicable, you mention, otherwise you can leave blank also. Now comes the EDT. If you have to file EDT, you need to mention. Another thing we are maintaining here is validity of the EDT. So now I think from 2014 we can appoint auditors for a block of 5 years. So you need to have a status when that block of 5 years is getting complete. So in that year you have to file reappointment form, that is ADT1. So that's why this field is important. If any other docs are required to be filed, you can mention it here. These are just for memo purpose, so not really used. And this activity code also you have maintained in the you input that activity code in MGT 7 and EOC for those. This is the activity code, so you have to update here. So next is form 61A as per Income Tax Act. So here we maintained, so columns are self-explanatory. Here we maintain details. And next is compliances for LLP. So under LLP, annual compliances are LLP 11 and LLP 8. So that those details are mentioned here. Then TDS compliance. So for TDS, we have to file quarterly returns. So 24 return 24Q, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. There's like this we have created slots. Similarly for 26, and if any client has 27 or 27 EQ, we can add that also. So you keep on populating this return status here. Filing date, acknowledgement number, filing fees if it is filed manually with TIN-FC, and staff name, and status of download of form 16 or 16A. And if there are revisions, you have to mention revision status update here. So first revision, second revision, like this we have created fields. So next is GST related data. Again, this is GST monthly or quarterly compliance related. So client name and frequency. Frequency 3B is monthly, but GSTR1 can be quarterly. So accordingly, we have to mention here. So for each client, there will be 12 entries for, because we will be having 12 GSTR 3B filings, but GSTR1 will be quarterly. So filing date, acknowledgement number, and the staff name. So like this we have created columns for 3B, GSTR1, GSTR2, although GSTR2 is not to be filed, but initially we had created this template. GSTR4 and GSTR1A, 2A data. Actually we download it and send to the client for verification, and we mention the detail here on which date we have sent to the client for checking up the or match mismatch analysis of the client. And then we have annual compliances under GST here. These are GSTR 9 and 9A because non-audits, because in 9C is under audit, so there it comes separately. If you see, this is the GST audit entry. So non-audit case, we are keeping a table here. So filing date, acknowledgement number, and if client is going to do directly, then client name and our staff name here. So this is for financial year 17-18, because both the due dates, because of postponing, were in last year, as per sometime announcement we made, sometime it has come here. Now we created a column for 18-19 also, but it was not required. Then RFD 11, this is for those undertaking for export without payment of duty. And DRC 3, this is payment filing related to 9 form 9 filing. Then we have sheet for PT enrollment. So this is that amount which is to be paid annually, 2,500 to be paid annually. So here we maintain a chart, and PT number, and what is the status, paid date, and if we have got a soft copy, link of that challan. Similarly, for PTR, that is deduction of employees. So if you see, we are mentioning yearly for those as per Maharashtra PT Act. If the annual liability is below 50,000, then you have to file annual PT return. So the frequency is annually, and if it is above 50,000, then it is monthly. So like this, we create slots here, and for which month. Now, problem here is when we say return for the month of March as per PT. In normal terms, it is for the salary for the month of February. So sometimes it creates a lot of confusion between new staff when it comes. So instead of mentioning return month, we are mentioning salary month. Salary month is February 2000. Are to be mentioned. And further, we are maintaining here leisure under VAT. There were issues where client was required to issue online ledger confirmation, so it was not getting captured anywhere. So we started maintaining this sheet. Whenever we generate that confirmation for any client for their any sales, that detail is maintained here. And this is for directors KYC under Companies Act. So these columns are self-explanatory. So there is nothing to explain. Again, if you see, there is a LUT sheet is created here. If you see, although in GST annual we are covering RFD 11, again, why this LUT sheet is mentioned. So unfortunately, what happens is LUT you have to file before 31st of April. So this update should go in next year's file, financial year 2021 file. Since that file is not yet ready, so they created a temporary sheet and updated it. So later on, this will be copied there. Now, if you see overall structure of this file, there is no complex formula, there is no MIS reporting. So very simplistic appearing sheet is there. Although this sheet is the focal point of our practice, why do you think this file has been neglected this much? There is a reason for that. In Excel, you cannot, if you normally you cannot share that file. So multiple concurrent users cannot edit the file. If one user opens the file, then others are only read only, so they cannot update any data. And if you enable sharing, there where we faced some problem, and basic problem is if you want to share Excel file, you cannot have tables in that file. If there are tables in that file, that legacy sharing is disabled. So this was creating quite a problem for us, especially during due dates, ending due dates. So if you see this sheet, there are a lot of entries there, and a lot of data is to be updated by the staff. So we cannot keep on checking who has the file open, and we have to ask him close the file, then I will update. So it was creating a problem. So what we did, we moved this data to Google Sheets, that is online. So their sharing is automatically enabled, so multiple people, according to rights given, they can share and update. So that solves our major problem. But the problem is these online spreadsheet program, even if you take Office 365, certain features are not available in those online versions in Google Sheet, especially, which are available in Excel. So we had to disable all those features, and we had to maintain a very simple this thing where, so rather you can say we went for a form or substance over form. So we went for only our information purpose rather than going for the aesthetics. So that's why this file looks a bit boring, right? Next, since we have a few minutes left, let us analyze another sheet relating to notices. Notices means notices received for client. This was basically prepared keeping in mind hearings which we are supposed to attend on behalf of the clients. Uh, so okay, notices. In this notices, this is the table where we maintain all our what you say notices which you have received. Actually, this column hearing date is the next hearing date which you are supposed to attend for that particular case. Financial year relating to which that notice is there. Category under which this notice is means act basically. IT assessment, IT penalty, IT appeal, ITAT appeal, professional tax, TDS, VAT appeal, service tax, CGST, SGST related this thing. Then client name and assessing officer name. Assessing officer name is a drop down list. I will show you where that detail is populated and who's going to represent there, and what are the details of that officer. So these are all information I will show you in some time, and if it is completed, completion date, reason for notice. This is just for memo. If you want to prepare a particular information, what are the reasons for selection of this thing, notice you can mention here. And remarks, again it is a memo, what is the status of that hearing and whether completed or not completed. Now if whenever we mention it as complete, automatically that row gets highlighted in green, so it easily identifies complete and incomplete work. And billing related data you have to enter here. So if status is set as complete, then up to this column it is colored green and these three columns are empty. But if I give some particulars of billing, then everything becomes green. So automatically you will get to know which are unbilled, this thing. So here in this sheet, I am maintaining a database of contacts. Basically, this is officer name and which department he is, means IT or VAT, and his ward, address. Okay, this is shortcut. You need jumps there, and his contact number and his mobile number and personal email ID. If you see, only some are colored yellow and some are not colored. So you have to update and data in this sheet for colored columns, and uncolored are automatically picked up from other sheet. So in other sheet, office wise detail I have maintained. So landline number and email IDs don't shift with the officer. They are constant for that designated office. So that's why I have mentioned here, maintain separate sheet of that offices. Here you have to select the particular office. In drop down list, automatically this get populated. You select, and if you want to go to that particular office details, you can go there directly. Just click, it is a hyperlink given, you can go there and see the details there. So again, this table you will update the hearings which you have attended or responded to that particular notice. This database will be required when you are preparing your bills or communicating with the details of what all representations you have done for the client. And the subsequent sheets are our information sheet. So what all is required to be filed with the VAT appeal files, and here there's a calculation of fees to be paid for VAT appeals. And whenever there is a VAT assessments, we have prepared a master list of requirements which is required. So whatever is applicable, that you have to prepare a separate chart and send to the client for their compliances. And again, this is for appeal fees for income tax purpose. So these are the basic informations which we are maintaining in our file. So at the time of filing, we need not keep on searching what is the filing fee applicable. So immediately at one site we have this data available. So like this we are maintaining our list of representations. So maybe no, because of online this thing there may be little complication relating to assessing officer and all that. So, but if it is again remanded back to jurisdictional officer, you may have to update here. So let us see how that develops. So this is it, friends. So I will be uploading these sample files later on to that saved video in the description. Even yesterday's files also I have saved in the description. If those who have not downloaded it, they can download it. So, and tomorrow we are going to discuss about preparation of financial statements for non-corporates and corporates from trial balance. So, those are one of our most complicated Excel templates which we are using. Where a lot of features, a lot of validations we have included. So a lot of improvements keep on happening annually and changes according to statutory requirements. So tomorrow it is going to be a bit of a challenging for me to explain all the features and how it is done. So that's it for today, friends. So let us meet tomorrow. See you.